Yes, sir. You know, when I found out about this little incident that happened at that Dallas restaurant where the owner basically flipped out on these bras that was twerking on the glass and whatnot, I said about goddamn time. For the most part, either on these video clips or in your real life, you will notice that a lot of people, not just so-called blacks, but a lot of individuals just have no home training. But for the most part, and for this specific topic, we're going to talk about so-called black women who love to play the victim role and love this ratchet behavior because that's what's encouraged, that's what's influenced, and that's the way they think that they could get a quote unquote bag. All this short term lifestyle nonsense is going to affect them long term, and they're not realizing that. They're not realizing that perception is reality. One bad look is a bad look for the whole collective. But when you have no culture, no guidelines, no strong father figures, and when you turn your back away from the higher power, you're going to look out here like a bunch of soulless Jezebels, to say the least. The ratchet lifestyle, the thought culture, hookup culture, the over sexualization of these so called black women is out of control. It's because they have no God in their life. They have no father in their life. They hate their mother and they feel like shaking their ass left and right on the TV, on their phone, in restaurants, gas stations, in the car, any and everywhere is acceptable. Then they want to justify their actions and say they could do what they want to do, wear what they want to wear. But then when a guy wants to talk to them, they feel like the guy is a predator. Broad, you're sexually harassing me. You're harassing my eyes, shaking your ass in your tight ass pants. You're wearing yoga pants with no drawers. Bras used to cover up their asses back in the day with a long t-shirt or something. Nowadays, girls of all shapes and sizes are wearing leggings with their ass just out for public display. How do you want to be perceived? People need guidelines in the so-called black community because they don't know how to conduct themselves outside of the house or even inside of the house for that matter. What's the problem? We need to find out these solutions. And that's like I said, you have to act your age, not your shoe size. We need strong fathers back in the households because these women are running rampant and they believe they could do that because they follow bras like Cardi B and all these other whores. Bad influences, bad images. They don't understand that those are bad images. Those images used to be shunned upon. But when you want to go on slut walks and all this nonsense, you're trying to take the shame out of shit that deserves shame. But this ratchet broad right here is part of the problem because they enable this behavior. They defend this behavior. And she's a part of the problem that has to be exterminated, to say the least. The spirits that's corrupt in the so-called black community has to get out. It's very fixable. We have to return to the higher power and establish culture because this is not acceptable amongst any other nation. This is not acceptable. So let's hear what this broad got to say because she's a part of the problem. And of course, she didn't like how the broads were being spoken to. When the owner approached them 2 previous times, that's why everybody has to understand the context of every situation. You see a little 15 to 20-second clip, you have to know what's behind that clip. You can't just make a judgment off of that clip.
I put, the little clip in there if you haven't seen it.
And so all this twerking and take it to Prime, take it to Pink, don't bring it here because we're a restaurant. And so beyond that, 75% of my customers are ladies. And I want men to show respect for themselves for how they carry themselves here. So how can I tell the men to respect themselves and you guys are twerking on glass here? If you want to do it, get the out my restaurant.
We need more men to speak like that to the women of this world because women are taking over. And what does that mean? That evil is taking over because they're corrupted with these Jezebel spirits. And who's in control of that? Satan. All these bras are running rampant and they need to be spoken to the way that they need to be spoken to, like a child, because they don't grow up until their looks run out. You can't be shaking your ass in public outings. We don't give a fuck what music is played. You could easily bop in your chair, nod your head, sing the song, but we don't want to hear "ayy" and sticking your tongue out and all that fucking nonsense, man.
Been seeing so many different opinions on the situation that I definitely want to put my 2 cents in there, number one. And number two, a few things that I haven't seen people touch on that I want to touch on when we talking about this specific situation. Number one, everybody giving us like, oh my God, I see no problem with it. The restaurant owner is correct. He is his establishment. If you don't like it, get out. This, that, and the third. Da da da. But I don't know. For me, it was the way he handled it. For me, cussing them out and doing all that, especially in front of patrons who were not twerking and standing on your furniture, I would feel disrespected. Like, if I'm sitting there eating and I'm not one of the ladies that's standing on your furniture and twerking, and then you get up and basically group all of us together, because he was like, I want us to respect black women, and I came up with this concept for us, for black people. I don't need your money and this, that, and the third. Me and my husband both agreed when we watched him have that fit that we would have got up and walked out. Like, you.
Well, your husband's a fucking beta male and a simp. And no wonder why he's allowing you to do all this blabbing on the internet, because all these bras that have all this time to be blabbing is not worrying about things that are important. No disrespect. Your dreads looking like flaming hot Cheetos. You're a ratchet bra that's defending ratchet behavior, and you don't like the delivery of his speech. That's the only way that it can get through. Because y'all are knuckleheads. Y'all have hard heads. Y'all don't like hearing the fucking truth. Everybody has to conduct themselves in a great manner when you go out, and just in general, dude. Perception is reality, and y'all have to understand why the other nations look down upon the so-called black community is because you're looked at as a fucking jester, an entertainer, a whore, and a fucking baby boy.
You're mad at them basically because they don't have any couth, but you don't have none. Getting up doing all of that. Like, I would have left. I would have been so disgusted because, first of all, you grouping me with these black women that are standing up all on the couch, like, basically, just trying to say.
You're talking about he's grouping you. If you're conducting yourself in a great manner at the table, he's not talking about you. When people make statements, it could sound like a generalization and whatnot. It's mainly talking about the vast majority, not all. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule. If it's not talking about you, it shouldn't affect you. Point blank, period.
To me, it felt like he was on the whole, people barely respect y'all. So y'all need to respect yourself. And y'all gonna respect yourself in this restaurant. Like, that's basically the vibe that he was giving me. Like, people barely respect y'all anyway. What y'all twerking for? And that's another thing. It seems like not even just people of like different races, but even certain black people, the one who go by respectability politics specifically, they have a problem with twerking. They have a problem.
As should you. Listen, when you don't have a culture and when you don't have a God in your life, you're going to get corrupted by the evil nature of this world and just live in sin and just think everything is great and treat yourself as a God and worship yourself and don't listen to anybody that's trying to help you out. Whenever you tell somebody about themselves, they always bring up some shit from left field to justify their actions. But that has nothing to do with nothing. Twerking, shaking your ass in public is not acceptable, dude. This shit has to stop. Then y'all want to get respected. Y'all want to get looked at differently. Well, carry yourselves differently. Start boycotting this music that's getting played on a fucking rotation of like 18 times. And amongst a couple of fucking hours, you're hearing the same nonsense. Y'all not doing any of that.
Black women shaking their butt for some reason. Like, we see it all throughout life. We see how it's a huge double standard. We see it all the time. And even when I point it out, people think that I'm being dramatic. Like, there is this one viral TikTok. I really, really hope I can find it. It's of this white mom. She is teaching her kids the ABCs. I know it was just a joke. She's teaching her kids the ABCs, but she's doing it to a City Girls beat. I think HIJK LMNOP QRSTUV And she basically twerked.
Ain't nothing good, great, beautiful. That's a sight for sore fucking eyes, dude. These sisters always try to justify their actions by these so-called white women, dude. That's why y'all follow them to these fucking movements and all these feminist and womanism bullshit to feel like y'all could do whatever y'all want. They leading y'all to a brick wall, and y'all not acting like y'all have any morals or any values. Y'all living like immoral idiots, period. No principalities in y'all lives, no fathers, and the parents are failing children because they're allowing the TV, music, and social media to raise them, along with the government schools.
And she's a white mom, and everybody thought it was so cute and da da da. And I can show y'all so many different videos like this of white women twerking, and everybody thinks it's so cute. They're doing it in front of their kids. Everybody's like, oh, get a kick out of it. It's so
To hell with the white women. Let them do whatever the fuck they want to do. No disrespect, but so-called black women need to start worrying about themselves. Where are those sisters that used to tell sisters about themselves? They must be getting tired of it. And I don't blame them, because talking to these bird-brained broads is beating a dead horse, so I understand it.
the white woman shaking her butt. It's so funny. But when a black woman does it, it's disgusting. We don't have any self-respect. We don't know how to act. We don't know how to carry ourselves in public. Da 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 da. We're sick of it because we're black women. It's not because you don't like twerking. It's not because you don't like people shaking their butt in skimpy clothes. Because I can show you people from all different nationalities doing it, and people enjoy it and clap for them, and they have whole contests and everything. Yes, they do. I will show you a clip.
Did this broad really just bring out a cultural dance? You can't be fucking kidding me. This is what happens with these idiots that have no knowledge, no research of anything that they talk about. They just pull up anything to support their argument. Y'all twerk to anything. You should only be twerking in the fucking bedroom for your man. But most of y'all don't have a man because y'all jump from man to man. Like I said, no morals, no values. Twerking ain't acceptable, dude. It's only acceptable to these fucking simpletons out here because they can't get a woman. So now they support whores. They go to the strip clubs. Who hasn't seen some ass getting shooken before, dude? Ass and titties. That shit is getting old. We have no culture. We have no self-respect. And then when somebody wants to tell you, you want to start crying and start playing the victim role. That shit is getting old also.
Not that y'all don't like people shaking their butt. Y'all don't like black women twerking. That's what y'all don't like, number one. And number two, I get that you saying that it's like supposed to be this high-end establishment, and you're not supposed to dance in there. It's not a club. It's a restaurant, da-da-da, and don't stand on the furniture. Okay, so I understand that you don't want nobody to stand on your furniture, but I was going to bring this point up. It's a certain way that you can handle people if they're...
When you're acting like animals, you gotta be spoken to like a fucking animal. This broad, and from my understanding, she wasn't the slimmest broad, is twerking on a glass window, dude. If this broad was to fall through that, you know what could happen to this restaurant? That's an insurance claim. Cause y'all know y'all love to play the victim role, and y'all know y'all would have tried to sue that man. So who gives a shit if he said y'all could get the fuck out? Because y'all need to be spoken to like that. Like I said, the man approached them 2 previous times. So he's fed up now. And because most of y'all, not all, but most of these broads that's out here running rampant do not have a father figure in their life and they hate their mother, they don't want to hear the truth.
Don't like in your establishment. It's this club here in Columbus called Aiden. And anybody from Columbus, Georgia, know for a fact this man is always fussing about people standing on his couches. He do not like it. But I've never seen him come and chastise and reprimand a whole group that wasn't standing on his couches. He either put the people out or they go on the intercom and say, hey, y'all, don't stand on the couches. That he doesn't go and cuss out the entire club for standing on his couches like we all just ain't got no sense and he can't stand black folks. Basically, That's the vibe that the man was giving me, even though he's
This broad sound like she got a stuffy nose. Like, come on, man. Nobody has to deliver the message the way you want it. Everybody wants comfortable lies, but they don't want to hear the unpleasant truth. And it can't go down like that. Everybody's scared of the truth. That's why so-called blacks don't like going to the doctor's office. They don't like going to the dentist. They don't like hearing the truth. And so-called black women need to stop comparing their actions to others around the world. This isn't about others around the world. That's y'all problem. Stop being a fucking globalist. Stop worrying about everybody and their mother. You need to start worrying about yourselves and your sisters. The images and the examples that y'all are setting is terrible.
he created this for us, and he told us that he made this concept for us. Number two, that's a trash concept, sir. The concept is trash. The concept that you had is trash because you want to play music like Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, body yada 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 yada, and WAP and shit in this damn fine dining restaurant, and then get mad when somebody start dancing. Now everybody I keep talking about, just because they play the music doesn't mean that you have to get up and dance. Y'all not,
Understand that this is a so-called black restaurant. So the DJ, the owner isn't going to keep up with the music and whatnot. He's going to get a DJ, and that DJ most likely is going to play the most popular music because these DJs are lazy nowadays. And they're going to play that top 18, top 25 that consistently gets played on these radio stations. But does that mean that you got to get up and shake your ass? They play some Future and Jeezy. Like I said, am I going to get up and go get a brick and bring it to the restaurant and whatnot? That's extreme, but that's how extreme you got to get with these bras. It makes no sense. They always trying to justify their actions. You could easily bop in your seat. You have to get up. You can't control yourself. But we have to understand that most of these bras are children, dude, and they act straight like it, man. You got to get spoken to like a child if you want to act like it. If you want to conduct yourself like a lady, we wouldn't even be in this situation right now, period.
not a robot. You can sit your ass down. Twerking is not involuntary and this, that, and the third. But it's like y'all are denying like basic shit that go on in life. Like if we're at a football game and they play a song that everybody likes to dance to, if they play fucking the cha-cha slide or whatever at the football game, we came to the football game to watch football, but do you think ain't nobody gonna get up and do the fucking cha-cha slide?
This broad is a idiot, yo. For anybody that knows the songs that get played at any function, any sports game, those songs are traditional songs. They are purposeful songs. Like when everybody does the wave, that is a coordinated movement. This broad is trying to justify the actions of idiocracy, man. You cannot justify that, dude. And this broad is a part of the problem because majority of the regular fellas that's out here are dealing with broads like this. And listen, that's why you got to know who you dealing with, man. You got to know what they support. You got to know what they like, what they love, and what they hate, man, because these broads are bugged out of their fucking mind. And they corrupted with these evil spirits, and they taking men down with them. But the men are getting weaker because they don't want to tell them about themselves. And like I said, I understand that because you don't want to deal with the fucking headache. This broad says she got a husband. That dude got to be a simpleton. No other way. There's no way that my broad is going to be making a fucking video talking like this, looking like this, and defending shit like this. No way, no how.
They are. And for the restaurant, his commercial was the thong song on Instagram. He has a whole Instagram commercial with the thong song playing. So it's like you trying to give us fine dining, but how? When you playing twerking music. And you can say, oh, I'm trying to do it for the culture. I'm trying to do it for black people. It's so many other artists you could have played, and we still would have got the point across that it was for us, but it would not behoove you to get out your seat to start dancing. You could have played Nas. You could have played Erykah Badu. You could have played SZA, Summer Walker. You could have played Lauryn Hill. Jill Scott, it's so many other artists you could have played to give us a vibe that it was for us, but it's not a vibe like a dancing party vibe. So I don't know what concept, sir, that you was trying to do, but it sucked. It's trash. No, you don't.
Nah, your analysis in your video is trash. If you go and you could find this broad's video on YouTube, you could just check the ratio from dislikes to likes, and it's not even close. People have to have more morals and values in their life, yo. And we got to understand that perception is reality, man. I'm going to keep repeating that because that affects the whole collective. People don't think like that because so-called blacks have no culture. They're not thinking about the next woman. They're not thinking about the next man. They're only thinking about themselves. Self-preservation, self-worship. They only give a fuck about their opinion. They always be talking about my truth and shit like that. That shit that doesn't make any sense. All these fucking liberal lunatics, man.
Play party music and then want people to sit down. And no, it's not synonymous to black women to want to get up to dance. If you That's why in Roof Chris or them high end places like that, they don't play shit like I love rock and roll. So put another dime in the jukebox, baby. Cause them white girls gonna get up and start fucking dancing, dog.
This broad is bugged out of her fucking mind, and I could put my bottom dollar on it that she has antidepressants and smokes weed and has red wine on a daily basis, man. This broad is bugged out, and I freeze frame this shit at the right time because all she's doing is just running her fucking mouth. I don't get how anybody could be wanting to live with this broad. That dude must have had got her pregnant and he's stuck, or he's a simpleton and he's broke because your broad cannot be thinking like this, man. This is not a ladylike breakdown of ratchet behavior, dude. This is a ratchet hood booger that's supporting the thought culture, and that shit is what's tearing women down left and right, and that's affecting the next generation, and that's gonna trickle down. Stop failing your kids. Y'all have to return to the Most High and establish a culture in this so-called black community in this world, dude. You can't be acting like a fucking child, then wonder why the woman and the men of the other nations in this world look down at you. You cannot have it both ways. You want to act a fool? Do it in your own home. You want to shake your ass? Shake it for your man. Stop shaking it for the whole fucking world, so everybody could see if you could shake your ass like the next girl or the next girl. That shit is not impressive. It's 2020, but it's still blurry to the vast majority of this whole country. And the so-called black woman is fucking delusional, and she's her own worst enemy. But you can't tell her that. So it's just going to come a point to where nobody's going to say a fucking thing to these individuals, and they will wonder why. But so-called black people, we need to return back to the Most High, and we need fathers in the home, period, point blank. Because these women hate their fathers, they hate their mothers, and they hate themselves. That's why they're on these social media apps like a fucking opioid. Because that attention gives them that dopamine. It's the only thing that makes them feel better about themselves. They find empowerment in shaking their ass and spreading their legs. They're taking the shame out of words like slut and whore so that they could fucking do everything and just be shameless. It's a sad show out this motherfucker, dude. But it's only gonna get worse if nobody wants to stand up and say a word and stand firm like that restaurant owner. Enough is enough. Period, man. I'm out.